right there on the beginning of the whole big deal there, like that.
We are the arm of the government, so pleasant yet so cruel. We control your every move. We rule everything you do. We'll tax you for your food. We'll tax you for your gas. And brother, if I wasted days and wasted nights, you piss them all away. Little children in the street, dying every day. We all look for something we can never find, and we all need peace of mind. Lonely wretch on the street, looking for love. $20 beneath the sheets. Is this all she thinks of? We all look for something.
3, 2, 1.
Hey, Timmy, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, pretty good, Sean. We got another 7 days before Christmas, and I still don't have all my Christmas shopping done.
Did you get your Christmas card from King Keeler, though?
No, I
Your
didn't.
Christmas
You know,
cards.
no, I'm really heartbroken about that. I think when I get a chance, I'm going to schedule, some time with my therapist over this.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, listen, just lay down on your couch. It's going to be okay. I'm
How
sure
about you?
Al Albin didn't get a Christmas card either. I'm sure.
Oh, really? Oh, poor guy. Well, what
Poor
about
Al.
you? Didn't you make the list?
Yeah, I made the list.
You're on the naughty list. That's why.
Tell me, let
Okay,
me
you
tell
know
you
what
something.
you-
So I spent 2 freaking hours. I bought myself a computer.
Yeah.
I bought myself a freaking new computer because I wanted to have the best computer for the program that we have for the podcast,
Yeah.
right? So I
Yeah.
buy this new computer, I set it up, and the freaking web browser keeps blocking my microphone. It's blocking my headphones. And maybe nobody wants to hear me talk. I get it, but
Yeah.
the computer. Now the computer knows I don't want to hear more talk.
Yeah, you're so bad. Your computer's now
I'm so
banned.
freaking
Yeah.
bad. The computer blocked me. Hey, did you get a chance to see our great governor, Kathy Hochul?
Yeah, her
news
latest
the other day.
stunt.
Yeah, so on the news the other day,
Yeah.
she's talking about getting rid of the electoral college, right?
Yeah,
This
which is going to be impossible. But anyway.
Timmy, this is what's wrong with the Democratic Party today,
Mhm.
which I still belong to. I haven't got the courage because I think about my poor mom, who's been
Yeah.
passed on now for many, many, many years, who would have hit me over the head with a frying pan if I ever thought about changing from a Democrat, right? It's kind of like I
Yeah.
still have her phone number from the time she was 18 years old. If
Mm-hmm.
you called the Morris family 20 years ago, 30 years ago, it's the same number we have today. It was my
Mhm.
mom's. Sorry, Al Albin said he got one, but he sent it back.
Yeah.
So I got the same phone number for 50 some years, right? My whole life. I'm 58.
Yeah.
It was my mom's. So the phone number is about 80 years old. I can't get rid of it, even though you can't use it, right? It's the
Mhm.
same thing with me trying to get and become. I was an independent. I'm
Yeah.
probably going to go back to being an independent because I can't stand being associated with the Kathy Hochul's of the world. But if the people who are listening didn't get a chance to watch, New York lost 680,000 people in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
689,000 people left New York because of the
bailing out,
nonsense, right? Because we can't afford to live here. Taxes are crazy. Crime policies are meant to help criminals.
Bail reform, right there is a
Bail
biggie.
reform, raise
you know?
the age, welcome all of the
Yeah.
migrants, not the good ones that are trying to come to this country the right way, but the ones
Yeah.
that will split your head open with a hatchet while you
Yeah.
walk down the street. And then because of their great policies, they get out and you're in Albany Med with a hatchet stuck in your head. And they somehow think, isn't this is a great place to live, right? New York.
Yeah.
So instead of this clown, and I'm sorry, she is a clown, right?
Yeah.
She's the worst governor in this state's history when it comes to understanding what the hell the people want. Cuomo is the worst governor because he's a piece of shit. Okay.
Yeah.
He can fondle women. He can do all these things.
Yep.
And then he can destroy people's lives with his power. And now he thinks he's going to run for mayor of New York. If anybody should have a hatchet, I shouldn't say that because that's not the right thing to say. But
Yeah.
if I had a chance, I told you I want to have a boxing match with him, no gloves, West End Park,
Yeah.
and because it's the Veterans Park, and I want all the veterans to see me kick the shit out of him. All the money goes towards the Veterans Park or whatever. If he beats me up, wherever he wants the fundraiser to go. But Kathy Hochul thinks that what's important is let's get rid of the Electoral College because Donald Trump. Because he won. But he also won the popular vote, Timmy. He won everything.
Yeah,
He's
he did.
The Senate, the Congress, they own it all. And it has nothing to do with the Electoral College. That's the problem with these morons, dude.
That's why the founding fathers set it up this way because they didn't want the large states to control who became president,
But from our perspective, don't you think that these people would step back and say, why did we lose everything? How does a guy like Donald Trump, who's a smart son of a bitch, how does he win everything and why did we lose? But instead, they're going back to the same shit, Timmy, that got him beat, which is, let's get rid of the Electoral College. Let's try to get the judge in New York to not throw out the charges and continue to go after Trump. Let's try to do this. Let's try to do that. It's all about Trump, 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 Trump. And the American people are like, dude, I can't eat. It's not about Trump. It's about I can't buy food. I can't buy a house.
Mm-hmm.
I'm afraid to walk down the street. It's about migrants. It's about the everyday people don't want to see a man playing sports against a woman. They don't want to pay.
Still fighting that.
Yeah, they don't want to pay $8 for eggs.
Yeah,
and why we sit here and you and I and I know the audience that we listen to, they realize the reason we're struggling and what's hurting us. The people that are supposed to represent us, the Democrats, they seem to be like immune to what's really going on.
Yeah, I can't understand it, Sean. And these are supposed to be smart men and women, and they get into Congress, and then suddenly, everything has to be neutral.
Well, it's not.
It's beyond neutral. Hey, and keep on going. But there's something I was going to tell you.
Keep freezing up. What are you doing? You outside? I see your fancy background. What are you outside?
No,
you
I got a nice
freezing.
house behind me. You see that?
No, I see you.
It's because your computer is freezing there.
No, it's not me. Al Auburn is Timmy freezing up. Do I got to can him and just do the show by myself? What the hell's going on here? You're like the elf on the shelf, Timmy. That's what you're like. Okay. Every time you jump from one scene to the next, I don't know. I'm
just sitting here nice. I'm barely even moving yet. I'm freezing. Hey, I'm going to tell you something though. If you recall way back when we did a little story on all the banners, okay, the military banners at West End or Park, okay, which we now call Veterans Park. Have you noticed driving by there? They've been replaced.
Yeah. So Timmy, here's my thing. You're freezing up, and you're freezing up because you got a fancy asshole background in there with this virtual.
My background's got nothing to do with it.
Nobody believes that you're outside on a Christmas. The Christmas in the yard playing with the snowballs, whatever.
Yeah, I'm on my deck.
But yeah, I seen that, and I was really happy to see that they changed the flag for Pat, because he is
Yeah.
just everything about that park started with Pat and his group of people.
Yeah.
He never got to see it come to fruition. So we named it after him, right? So the McKinney Circle was the entrance to the park. And Keeler, being a state trooper, you think after 2 years of watching that flag just wither away, you couldn't even see his face no more.
Yeah, it was gone.
And he wouldn't have just gone and bought one for $139.
Mm-hmm.
We had to shame him on the show, like we're going to do about the potholes.
Right. And I drove by, and I drove by and bingo, I said, wow, they replaced the banner.
Hey, Danny
That's
Snay,
nice.
I don't know if you know Danny Snay. Me and him grew up, we grew up in Garner. He lived on Garner Street, and I lived on Richmond Street. And he just said, tell that guy with the big head, he's freezing up every time he talks. Just letting you know. So anyway, not
I'll
only
move my camera back.
I don't know what it is.
Smaller
Not only
head.
is Hochul just an imbecile, and she's worried about the electoral college instead of worrying about people being able to put food on their table. Then you hop over and watch this guy in Chicago, the mayor of Chicago. He just basically comes out and says, I don't care what any of you say. I'm going to help the immigrants, the illegal immigrants. I'm going to help them. And so like thousands of people show up to like their city council meeting, and they're just hammering this moron and hammering him. And what's he do? He stops the meeting and throws them out. And he tries. Chicago, they have kids killing each other every day. It's just horrible, right? And they're broke. They're like $20 million in the hole. And this guy's trying to put $70 million more into, or 70 billion more into the budget for the illegals. And the people are saying, wait a minute, you're taxing us more money to feed illegals when we have people shooting each other and killing each other every day in the streets. We have young people living in the streets that are starving. And so the Democrats, they just don't get it.
Yeah. Well, did you see they tried to sneak by this 1,500-page continuing resolution for the budget in Washington?
That's
right?
That's a whole nother argument, right? That's the Republicans.
Right. And it was unnecessary. They only need, a few things to keep things going. But no. They had to load it up with pork. They had to block subpoenas for emails and all kind. It's just, they don't have us in mind.
No. Here's what's going to happen. The Republicans don't know what it's like to be in power. And when you put people into power that never had it before, they're a train wreck. They really are. Because having all this power, you wield it around like it's nothing. And the next thing you know, you're all fighting with each other because now you have the power and you want this and they want that. All you can hope is that Trump, who people can say all they want about him, but he's got a lot of brains. He built billions of dollars, he's a billionaire from his businesses. All you can hope is that he can, keep all these Republicans together and not lose their minds with all the power they have. I remember when the Democrats won the Senate here. It used to be Republican, right? Joe Bruno and that whole crew.
Yeah.
And then you had the Democrats. Well, the first year they won, they were so incompetent that they got thrown back out of office. That's what's going to happen if the Republicans don't realize that this power should be used to help us. Yeah. To help the American people who voted for them. Right? Yeah, I seen that. Sean Van Sleet just said they put raises. They make 100. First of all,
you know how much that raise was, Sean? 40%. Yeah, okay, 40% raise, and not just this year, but also next year.
And better health care.
Yeah, they don't have to have Obamacare. They can opt out.
So while you're starving to death because the Democrats forgot everything that was important to its people, the Republicans take over. And the first thing they do is they want to vote for a bill that has all this bullshit in it, but gives
the Democrats want.
Right, and them too. No, let's not be fooled, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Right? They want 40% raises. They want better health care because it is the greatest. And again, it's not a freaking job. It's the greatest position in the world. When you're in politics, I've been there. Ain't nobody going to tell me. When you're in politics, nobody's your boss. You could sleep till noon, go to work till 1, swim in your swimming pool, pick up the phone, call a constituent back, vote yourself a raise, give yourself better health care. It's the greatest job in the world that's not a job.
Well, yeah. Do you know someone else close to you that voted to give themselves a raise?
John McDonald. I had him on the show.
Right. And someone else.
Well, all of them, everybody.
Keeler, $21,000 raise over the next 4 years, $84,000 into his pocket.
Keeler
so, they're all doing this, Sean.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say to you. What I'm trying to say to you is that the government is run by a bunch of self-serving, shitty people. For the most part, there's a small group of people who really do care. But I'm going to tell you something. That small group of people who care fall in line really quick. You know why? Because if you don't fall in line, they kill you. They destroy you. Timmy, let me just tell you something. I was one time a very powerful man in Albany County. I was the chairman of the legislature. I controlled $900 million. Anybody who wanted to do business had to come kiss my ass. And you know what? That feels really good for about 15 minutes, right? After that, you start realizing that if you're in it for the right reasons, none of that shit really matters, right? What matters is you want to help people. You want to help single moms who are struggling. You want to help orphans find a family. You want to help people who are starving and they just need a helping hand, right? You want to help those people. But in order to help them, you got to fight the system. I fought the system, Tim. What happened to me?
Yeah. Well, did you see what Sherry's comments here is? 6% tax increase in Waterville, and they also gave themselves raises. Here's what shocks me. How is it we don't raise taxes in Cohoes, yet we still got $92,000 a month for an ambulance, and Waterville doesn't do that? I'm going to tell
you why. First of all, the first 3 years I brought in all this money, right?
Yeah.
All these new pilots that people say are no good that are the reason now that everybody's not paying taxes. Plus, then Cohoes got millions of dollars from federal government. Billy Keeler is the kind of guy that has a little piggy bank that he will never take money out for anything, right? He's you ask anybody, he's the cheapest bastard in the world. Okay,
yeah, he won't even send a Christmas card on his own time.
Right, but anyway, the taxpayers in Cohoes are paying for his Christmas cards.
Yeah, 375 of them.
Right, so he's the cheapest bastard in the world when it comes to himself.
Yeah,
but when it's somebody else's money that gives himself big raises, he don't care.
Yeah,
and I said this to people 100 times on this show. If you don't think for 1 second that you're going to get hit in the face with the high tax stick after he's gone, because you can shell game this for a long time. Mike DeRocher is the best in the business. So he's the one keeping the city afloat. He's the one making sure that they come up flush. He's the one who gives Billy the little cookies on the tray that says, go out there and promote yourself. Tell everybody how great you are, because I did all the work for you. I overestimated this. I underestimated that. We got all this money. They're broke. They just don't know it yet. Okay? Because they're just spending money. And I can tell you, I don't talk to Mike DeRocher no more. I mean, I love the guy, but he's got his job to do, and he's got to stay an arm length away from people like me, so he doesn't get in trouble. And so don't a lot of people that I was once close with, because especially the show, right? But I can tell you, he's biting off his toenails, for Christ's sake. That's how disgusted he is, I'm sure, with the spending that this guy's doing.
Yeah.
And Cohoes is in a lot of trouble. And eventually, whoever's going to take over this city is going to find out that this guy pissed away so much money. There's no way that a city that's on the upswing can get hit with $1 million a year new tax bill and go, no problem. I got the money to pay for that. Or give yourself and your family $250,000 in raises. No problem. I can take care of that. But Timmy, this is the problem. Do you know that the DPW workers in the city of Cohoes have 20 plus grievances filed against this mayor
Yeah.
and this DPW commissioner. I was a union representative.
And Sean, a lot of them are safety issues too, aren't they?
I don't know all of them. I can only tell you that
Yeah.
in 15 years where I worked for a union representing DPW workers, nurses, a whole host of different workers. I never had 20 grievances at one time going with 10,000 people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because the first thing that you learn is that you're going to bump heads, right? I'm the biggest union guy you ever met in your life. When I became the mayor, I now had another position, right? I now represent the taxpayers, and it was really difficult for me to juggle because I didn't really know how to do it.
No matter who was mayor would have that problem.
Right. I spent my whole life on the union side.
Yeah.
But I also understood that the people of Cohoes is a small city, and we couldn't give people more than we could afford to give, right? But I would sit down. Sometimes, if Willie Sharman was watching, he'd piss me off so much. I say, "Get the F out of my office." And they were the firemen that I loved and I worked with my whole life. But what I'm saying is that this guy doesn't have the ability to communicate. Steve Hennessy is an invert. He don't know how to communicate. Bill Keeler's an invert. He don't know how to communicate. They basically just say, go screw yourself. We're the kings of the world, and we don't care if you have a grievance, which means we don't care about how much money you make. We don't care about the benefits that you have. Why they're taking huge raises. Not only are they taking huge raises for themselves, but Steve Hennessy got a huge raise. All of his
3%.
Yeah. Well, that in the midterm raise, he's up to $91,000. That was more than I made as the mayor.
Right.
What? To dig a few holes and scream at everybody? 20 grievances, improper practice charges. You're frozen again, Timmy. I don't know what's wrong with you. Timmy's. No, I'm not. I took you off and put you back on. So, am I frozen, Al?
Yeah,
where's Tommy Fife?
You've been freezing. I didn't say anything because I'm a nice guy. I'm in a good mood right now.
This is my last podcast. If we got to keep freezing all the time, I'm shutting down. I'm just going to retire and just sit in my chair and watch the Yankees. But anyway, there's no respect for the worker. Keeler has no respect for the firefighters, the DPW workers. He only respects himself and his kids. And I get it. I'm a father. I love my kids too. But when you're willing to spit in the eye of the firefighters, right?
Yeah.
While you're taking $20,000 raises and you're robbing them out of 3 hours overtime, is that a mayor who's looking out for the city, or is that a scumbag who just thinks I'm king of the world?
Mm-hmm.
It just bothers the shit out of me. And so, I think the DPW workers, I don't even know a lot of them no more. That used to be a career.
Yeah. Now I think. Yeah, and I thought that there was something with civil service jobs being posted, but there are people in Cohoes. These jobs that are being posted in civil service are only getting 24-hour notice of a meeting, so people can't go to these meetings to ask questions.
Well, the city should be posting the jobs because they're the ones hiring, right?
Well, they are, but they're posting a meeting, say today, for a meeting tomorrow. It doesn't give people notice.
I agree. I agree. But
that's happening.
Right, but the jobs ain't being posted by civil service.
Yeah.
They're being posted by the city. City goes to civil service, says we want to fill these jobs. And the civil service then has a meeting, approves the jobs if they're not already approved, right?
Yeah.
My point is, please don't use king of the world when talking politics, please. I don't even know what the hell that means. What does that mean? Gary Joseph. How do you say his last name? Kapsinski. I don't know how to spell it.
Kapczynski or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know what he means.
Probably Kaczynski.
What does he mean by don't use king of the world?
I don't know, Gary. It's our show. You don't have to tune in. How's that sound, Gary?
I think he's busting balls.
Get your own show.
Well, we're just busting balls. I'm just busting balls, Gary. I don't know what the hell you mean, but King Keeler, I call him because that's what he thinks he is. So, it's Gary. I love you, Gary. I was busting your balls back anyway. So anyway, you got a DPW who's in disarray. A fire department's in disarray. I believe the cops are in disarray. They're so young, you don't even know any of them, right? And
Yeah.
I think the city is heading in a bad direction. And one of the examples is this: have anybody who's watching this show has anybody driven down Columbia Street
To the
and
pothole
seen?
center.
It's not a fucking pothole. It is a crater hole that sucks your car in and spits you out the back seat.
Yeah.
I'm driving down the road, and all of a sudden I look over. I'm like, bam! I almost lost my fillings. Okay, that's how hard my car hit.
Yeah.
And then I look over, and there's two what the hell do you call them that are on your wheels? The plastic covers that look like hubcaps, right?
Yeah.
Two of
Hubcaps.
them are laying in the street. People are stopped. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And
Yeah.
the reason it's
They were working there today because they got a problem with a tap, I guess, a water tap and a water break. You know,
So,
a lot,
it's
because I
not
guess they're going to do
DPW.
something for that apartments going in there. But anyway,
It's not DPW, right?
yeah.
It's
But look at it in front of my driveway. I even had to go to Higgins, Sean. I got such a big pothole in front of my driveway, okay, that it's unavoidable, right?
you're not getting
And
that fixed. Forget about
No,
it.
and I told him, I said, it's been 3 years now. I do
You're not-
pay.
you're not
I do
getting that
pay
fixed.
right. I do pay a price for this podcast.
You're not getting
Okay.
it fixed. and
I got to
Gary's
drive
getting his
across
own
my
podcast.
lawn to get out of my driveway now.
Don't worry about the podcast. Gary's getting his own podcast, he said.
Yeah,
So if you're driving down the street, it's the most dangerous thing I've ever seen. Okay. Now,
yeah,
let me tell you why I know the city don't give a shit about you. Okay. Or any of these people watching the show. It does not matter who's doing the work to me. Okay. I'm sure that the companies doing that work are doing it because they're putting in and fixing the water for the new apartment complex or whatever is going to be put
Yeah.
back, okay, in that area. It's
They're
got
probably
nothing to do with the city.
yeah.
But
They're
the
probably
city-
putting a 3-inch tap.
I would-
Anyway,
I would say, no, Gary, that's not true. All the roads are paved the same because it's the same amount of money.
yeah,
All of
So
the
anyway-
money that's given to the city to pave roads are paved based on the money that you get from the highway fund, and if you got 450,000, you get to pay $450,000 worth of roads. Period. Some cost more because they're bigger, some are less because they're smaller, but the amount of money they spend is the same amount of money. And so the reality is, if you do a bunch of small roads that year, yeah, you'll get a lot more roads. You go and do some big roads, you're not going to have as many roads, right?
yeah,
So let me just go back to this crater. So as
Yeah.
you're driving down, again, you hit it, you lose your fillings, people losing their tires. It's a nightmare. And although the city doesn't have the work going on and it's somebody else, it is the DPW commissioner's job to ensure that everybody who does work in this city makes sure that when they leave at the end of the day, that all of their work is clean and it's safe and it meets the city of Cohos's responsibility to the taxpayer, meaning that you don't leave something where they're going to lose a tire, there's going to be an accident, you don't put up cones. And I'm going to be really honest, and I think some people who are watching the show would remember this. When I was running the city, we had one of the biggest corporations in the capital region, and it's international, doing millions of dollars of work in our city. And I got a phone call one day from a lady that says, "Hey, do you know that these people at the end of the day, the stones, you know, those big stones they fill a hole,
Yeah.
they're all over the street. They don't pick them up. There's no cones." And every single morning that I was the mayor, the first thing that I would do is I'd drive around the whole city and look at all of the different sites that work was being done to make sure it was satisfactory to me, because I answered to the people, right? When they called up and screamed about the stones, they didn't care who did it. They were screaming at me.
yeah.
So
They
every
get caught in the
morning,
tires and scattered everywhere.
every morning, 6 o'clock, I was out there looking at it. Okay. So I show up and I go, holy shit, this is the most messy, unsafe thing I ever seen. So I called up our representative and said, "Hey, you got to make sure at the end of the day, you're cleaning up the streets. People in Cohoes don't want to be inconvenienced by your work. They don't want to lose a tire. They don't want to have an accident. You need to get it clean. I promise, we promise it will never happen again. 2 days later, when I'm driving by, 5 different sites, stones everywhere, shit all over, no cones, no nothing. So you know what I did? Take a guess
Tell
what
me.
I did. I called up the company and said, at 12 o'clock tomorrow, we're pulling your permits and you're not coming to Cohoes no more and you ain't doing no more work. What are you talking about? I said, that's it. Click. You didn't clean up. You didn't click.
You told this story before.
Yeah, so I get all these people that show up, and what do? They say it's never going to happen again. And they fixed it, and it never happened again. The moral of the story is that we stayed on top of these things. The city of Cohoes DPW commissioner lives right by the hole.
Right.
He drives by it every day.
Yeah.
They didn't say one word. They left this, and when somebody complained, you know what they said? Oh, it's not us. It's a private contractor. It's your city, asshole. You're responsible.
You're right. Kennedy's, Hennessy's house can't be more than 200, 300 feet away from that thing. Okay. And how can they not see that, you know? But anyway, I mean, that's been going on. And, you know, you see that all the time. Hey, I just wanted to tell you, though, you know, got to give a kudos to Town of Cowee. Supervisor Crumey brought a pump down there to help us out for the temporary problem that we have down there at the Mohawk pumping station.
That's what they do, Timmy. They help each other out. Big deal. The bottom line is they had a pump and a pump station that feeds you water that was 6 months broken. They were told by DPW over and over and over that it was going to break, and they did shit about it until it broke. And now they're going to pay at least $1,000 a week for a pump.
And that's what's happening
for months.
So the pump's getting rebuilt. Okay. In the meantime, they've had temporary pumps on the outside doing everything like that. I don't want to cause a panic, though. Everything seems to be running just fine.
Don't worry about the panic. I'm panicking because you keep freezing, but don't worry about it. So the city of Cohoes needs to do a better job with maintaining the services that we have. They need to do a better job respecting the DPW. It bothers me to no end to think that these people are being disrespected on that high of a level. 20 grievances. 20 grievances.
Yep.
They're a small little department with 40 guys, and they got more grievances going in because they don't care. They're screwing them out of every nickel. The guy that just took a $20,000 raise is screwing the little guy out of $400 freaking overtime. That's what we have. That's what we live with. That's what we're dealing with. And I don't know how it gets any better, because as long as they don't care, and as long as people don't care, and you know what? Cohoes Proud was about people caring. You know what? I don't think people care no more. Does anybody care? I mean, do they really care?
It's here's the way I see things, Sean. It's hard to care when you try to do something well for the city and you're rejected. I have people tell me this all the time. They offer, you know, their opinions or advice for betterment things, and they don't want to hear it. Okay, say if it's something that you want to offer out, some volunteer your time to do an event, you know, and it's not your idea. The reason why it doesn't get done or gets discarded as an idea is, well, they use the old, it's a liability problem for the city, or it's we're not insured for that, or you know, this is what they say in order not to allow people to volunteer their time to try to do things, make things better. And a lot of people tell me this when I run into them here and there. You know, they have ideas, but they don't have a way to bring those ideas forward. Listen, and nobody wants to listen to them.
We had Pete Frangi on last week, right?
Yeah.
And Pete's got to walk a tight rope, right?
Yeah.
His job is paid for by the IDA. The IDA is controlled by the city council and the mayor. But I think Pete is an honest man. I do. And I think
so do I.
You know, he's always going to try to do the best that he can. I don't know if his best that he can is going to be good enough. But without coming right out and saying it, I think he agreed with us. The streets are dirty. Nobody's taking care of the city. The streets are not the same as they were a few years ago. There's dirt and there's crime and nobody's cleaning up and there's garbage. And and he's trying to work with the LDC and the IDA to get investors. And investors in the city of Cohoes are saying, not so fast. I don't believe they have a list of investors lining up. I really don't. I think he's saying that, but I don't see nobody knocking the door down. Bonaquisti brothers are taking a gamble like they did the first time, but I got this strong suspicion that when he said, well, we don't never have to worry because we can always get residential. On Ransom Street, you need residential because businesses ain't going to flourish without the people. We already talked about it. So I think I think what we heard was that many people agree with us that the city is going backwards, not forward. Now, I went downtown the other day and I stopped at Anthony's. I had spaghetti and meatballs. I'm not supposed to eat that, right? I'm a diabetic, so I had to take a double extra needle. But it was delicious. And there was a nice crowd of people there. But I parked my car a couple blocks away. Not because I had to, but because I wanted to walk up and see what was going on. And you know, at 8 o'clock at night when I left his place and walked up Ransom Street, I was envisioning all the stuff happening before. There was nothing open.
Right.
There was no people on the street. I seen one guy bumped a cigarette off me. I said, yeah, I'll give you a cigarette, but I don't smoke. But he asked me 3 times, right? So some guy wanted a cigarette. I don't smoke.
There's kind of like no nightlife.
There's no
down
life.
to Remsen, you know? There's no, I mean, you can go down to Canal Square, okay? And, you know, nothing going on.
How did the Christmas tree lighting go? Did the whole tree light up this year?
Well, it did, and I thought there was a decent turnout. They had, you know, some horses pulling a wagon, and I think mostly the kids enjoyed it. Okay, families that brought their kids there, and I thought that was good for the kids. You know.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
You know, and you know, as you know, okay. I was hoping that for this winter anyway, we'd have that community center open up and running, but that's taking so long, Sean.
Well, it's Timmy. I've told you 100 times.
No, but yeah,
it's government, and they move at government pace. They move at the same speed your head's moving now each time you freeze.
Yeah,
slowly. And then they stop, and then they move, and then they stop. It's government.
Yeah.
2 things to remember. If you're relying on government to fix itself, you're going to be sadly disappointed. And if you're in a hurry and you're waiting for government to win the race, you're going to be sadly disappointed because they don't do anything fast. McCoy's going to fix that building. You know why? Because he's getting $2 million from the government.
Yeah. So Capital Entertainment here says that since you left office, Cohoes has become a ghost town.
Yeah, no shit. It is. It really has.
You know,
it really has.
It's true, really. You know, Sean, it's lost bling. I mean, there was pride. Okay. I think once Rock the Block got started and people were pouring into the city and restaurants were booming, but then you know what? It was hard once the Rock the Block concerts were over, is to keep that going.
We had fall festivals. There's ways to do it. I'm not going to go back into it because you know what? I'm not there. Let them figure out their own stuff.
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to throw up a slide, and I wasn't able to do it because of the 3 hours of me trying to figure out why my computer wouldn't let me into my own show.
Yeah.
But Billy McCarthy, who we used to call what did we call him? Dodo
the lap dog.
The lap dog.
Yeah.
So the lap dog puts out a thing on Facebook telling all the people that there's construction going on Columbia Street.
Yeah.
So to be careful, instead of saying, I'm going to call the city and make sure that this company that's doing the work cleans the shit up and make sure it's safe for you, he goes, if you're going down Columbia Street, you may want to be careful or divert and go another way.
Way.
What is wrong with these people? How about you got the balls to say, hey, the company's doing a shitty job, and I'm going to go down City Hall tomorrow and make sure the hole's filled so you don't lose a car. You don't lose your fillings and you don't lose your tires. But instead, he says, go a different way. That's the people that you have running your life, man. Go a different way.
You know, it's odd because, you know, where if they close a street, John, right? What I find is that they put the road barrier where the street is closed. They put it so close to where they're at that you already drive down the street, okay, and then now you got to turn around and come back, and where they should have put it further down.
Drives me nuts.
They do this all the time. I said, wait for Christ's sakes, why didn't they put it a half a block or a block up the road so I didn't have to drive all the way down here? You know, and they do this all the time.
You got Steve Hennessy's a moron. He's a hole digger.
Have that happened to you?
Happened to me. I get so freaking mad. I want to scream. I live on a street that if you can't get down, you can't get home.
Yeah.
There's only one way there, right?
Yeah.
So the other day, I'm driving, and I'm coming from Latham. Now, I could turn down Western Avenue, but I don't like going down Western Avenue because it's a real, narrow street, and there's people walk. I just don't like it. So I go down Columbia, and I go up James Street. Yeah. So I'm driving home. I'm tired. I drive all the way down. I get all the way up to my street. And there's a sign that says streets closed, go back up around and go down Western Avenue. And I think to myself, why didn't they put a freaking sign up on Western Avenue that says there's a detour, go this way?
Right. They do this all the time.
Because they're morons. They're morons. We're talking about common sense shit.
Yeah.
Common sense. If you're going to dig a hole at the top of James Street, okay, and the only way to get to Jackson or to Western Avenue, or to get to Jefferson, or to get to my house on Grandview, if you can't get there any other way than to go all the way back from where you came from, all the way up by the top of Stewart's, you think they'd put a sign saying James Street closed, go Western,
right?
But they're not that smart.
No, it happens, and
I blame
all
Steve
the
Hennessy.
time.
I blame Steve Hennessy. I think he's been sucking in fumes too long, because no man can say I'm running DPW and I'm a well-oiled machine, but I don't know enough to put a sign up so that the people can get home, don't have to drive 42 miles in a city that's only 4 square miles.
They do this on they do it on Believe Boulevard. They do it on Manor Avenue. You know, you get on going, you get to a certain point, and now next thing you know, I understand they got to close the road, but close it further away where people don't have to drive and turn around in someone's driveway. Okay. And it just happens all the time. They say, who does this shit? You know, it's crazy. Hey,
I want to jump into something outside of Cohoes for a little bit. Right. So I'm trying to pay attention to this whole immigrant thing, right? Because it just bothers the shit out of me to think every day I'm turning on TV and we're talking to mothers whose little girls were raped and murdered, and this is the United States of America, and we have immigrants from Venezuela coming over and taking over housing complexes, right?
Yeah,
we're seeing just terrible things happening. Why is the president of the United States, Joe Biden, doing everything in his power to destroy this country? And now
even selling the border wall steel.
That's the point I wanted to make. He's selling multi-million-dollar border walls for 5 cents on the dollar. Yeah. When he knows that the president now is going to start building that wall again. Why is it every single thing they do is aimed at hurting this country? Because no normal person, I can't believe anybody who's watching this show, the thousands of people that will tune into the show over the course of the next month, 70,000 people, I can't believe there's one of them that can give me a reason why.
You know, Sean, it's scorched earth attitude. They lost the election big, and it's scorched earth, okay? They're going to try to harm the incoming administration in order to put themselves in a better position for the midterms. And they don't care. It's all about being in power, and they don't care about America.
These Venezuelan gangs are bad. I mean, they're bad.
You know what?
They're showing.
They may be bad, but you know what? There's vigilantes out there that deal with them too.
Well,
Bring in the
I don't
Navy
want to talk
SEALs.
about a vigilante because I don't know about that. I just know that I'm watching the news and 15 of them are kicking people's door down. They just they hit a guy over the head and dragged a girl out the door.
Yeah, yeah,
This is America. And then
yeah,
you have the media. The media is trying to justify it by going, whoa, wait a minute. It's only a few housing complexes.
yeah.
Wait a minute. This is the United States of America. And we have housing complexes in cities in the United States of America being hijacked by people from other countries. And you don't find a problem with that? There's not a problem.
Right. And just take a look at this example, the attitude of Congress. Okay. Elected senators. Okay. Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren. Okay. The CEO who gets shot in New York City. And what she comes out and says, you know what? These people have reached a boiling point, and she practically justified this guy murdering him. She's a sitting senator and says that.
She's not
Well,
alone.
if you feel that way, okay, then isn't it justified that you start seeing Congress people and senators and stuff like that also being murdered because people are at wits' ends? It's the wrong attitude to have.
Well, it's the wrong attitude. It's the wrong message, and it makes you cringe, right?
Yeah.
This young guy just threw away his whole life.
He did, and he was so
he's getting all
wealthy.
these girls that want to marry him, and
Yeah.
and the media's like praising him, like I get it, I do.
Yeah.
The healthcare system is broken, but I don't give a shit how bad it's broken. You don't go out and murder somebody over it.
Yeah.
Right?
He's going to spend his rest of his life in prison
This guy's dead.
being somebody's boyfriend.
A father with 2 kids.
Yeah.
Dead.
Yeah.
Because and then we find media somehow praising him.
And
Whether
and
it's
he thought he was
implied or
going to get
implicit,
away
they're
with
praising
this.
him.
Yeah.
What?
He thought he was going to get away with this, but you know what? In today's society, he had a burner phone, so he couldn't get caught. Ghost gun. He did everything but think for himself. Okay.
Well, the bottom line is this is a country that
stupid.
this is a country that has somehow, over the course of the last 4 years, built up the criminal to believe they're untouchable.
Yeah.
And I believe the government has as much responsibility in the message that they have sent and the laws they have passed.
We did it here
and
in
the
New York.
deeds they have done.
Right. Bail reform.
It's okay. Yes.
Bail reform.
It's all of it. It's
Yeah.
all. Can anybody who's watching this show, folks, tell me the border, what has that done to help this country? Tell me, what is these policies that California, New York, and the rest of these liberal democratic cities done? Like you can go rob a store up to $900 and we won't prosecute you.
Yeah.
Tell me how that has not caused great harm to the country as a whole. Tell me it hasn't sent a message to people in New York City where they were pushing you in front of the subway and basically trying to justify that, you had a mental illness. I don't give a fuck if you have a mental illness. Your mental illness doesn't take precedence over somebody's life. It just doesn't. It's just like, I don't care if you're a man who wants to perceive himself to be a woman. I don't give a shit what you perceive yourself. You can dance around like Tinkerbell in your house. I don't care. You can tell me you're a woman. I don't care. But when you try to squeeze your balls into a swimsuit next to the girls, I have a problem. Yeah. I'm not playing make-believe. It ain't my job to play make-believe with you.
Did you know that I don't know if he's a CEO of the NCAA.
I watched him today on the news.
That clown sit there. And it said basically the women, it's not their decision whether a transgender can use their bathroom. If they have no say in it, is basically what he was saying.
Well, what he was trying to do was he was trying to push it onto the local establishments. Oh, it's you. You have to come up with what he basically said, and it blew my mind. What he said was, how did he put it? Oh, maybe the local government has to find a safe space for women. Yeah, it's in the woman's locker room, asshole. That's the safe space. And you're taking it away by saying it's okay for men to play in women's sports. This is just one of the icebergs, just the tip of one of them. It's the whole woke culture. Okay? What happened to a comedian? We used to be able to laugh at ourselves. I'm a fat bastard. I'm going bald. If you make bust my balls, so what? I'll laugh with you.
And it's killing comedy too.
Well, thank God it's coming back, because the people of the United States, we're not abnormal.
It'll probably come back even better.
We're probably
now.
abnormal, but we realize that we fit into the pigeonhole with more people than we don't, which is we're tired of the woke bullshit. Okay. I want to hire somebody based on their qualifications. This whole Caitlin Clark bullshit, nothing bothered me more than the Caitlin Clark thing, right? Her statement. Here, first of all, here's a woman who is a fantastic basketball player, who not only came to the league and played outstanding, but she changed the whole dynamics of women's basketball. Every once in a while, Timmy, somebody comes along, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. People come along, and for whatever reason, they have something special about them. And it ain't the color of their skin. It's just who they are. They just radiate something so special. I never watched a women's basketball league in my life, and I paid $13 a month because I just wanted to watch her. She made me feel happy and good that sports could be something that made me, feel good again. But instead, what I watched,
you don't see kids like her come along often,
But what I watched was a league of black lesbians who want to beat the shit out of her every day, knock her down. If she had courage, you know what she'd say? I'm going to go play over in another country just for 1 year, and the whole entire league would fall. And then all those people who think they're important, who brought this game to its new level, would realize that they're not that important. Are they great athletes? Yes. Have some of them women just excelled? Absolutely. Did I get a joy out of watching them after I started watching Caitlin Clark? Yeah, some of them were just amazing. But they weren't transformable into this league of
well, she elevated
she elevated to a level.
League, all the way around. Yeah. I mean, there's a story about her every day. Okay.
Why does she then come out
and say that?
And say, well, there's a white privilege. Caitlin Clark, there is no white privilege. Caitlin Clark, sadly, you're full of shit. You got sucked into the vacuum because you felt the need to do it, because the pressure on you is probably immense. You probably should have came out and said, listen, I have all the respect in the world for these women, and they're the greatest basketball players of our time, women. And this league, sadly, never got its due. I'm glad that I was able to come in and shine light on the league and all these incredible women. But not because you're white. I'm white. White man can't jump.
She's bitching. Sean, she's bitching. She wasn't chosen for the Olympics team right out of college. Okay.
Well, now you have
who do you drop off of that team? The United States has not lost a game. Women have not lost a single game since 1992.
Well, they were bitching that they didn't put her on the team. And you know what?
But
you should have put her on the team.
No, I disagree.
Bullshit. She's the biggest, hottest person.
It's got nothing to do with that.
Oh, bullshit. I mean, that's a stupid.
There was 12 other players on that team.
That's the stupidest thing in the world. It's a business. If you went to Little League and you had Mickey Mantle in his first year, would you say, well, I don't want to really promote the league, so I'll just put Shaw Morris in there.
Who do you drop off?
Well, you could have dropped off a lot of players. You should just look at the numbers and say, okay.
I agreed with the people who have not lost a game since 1992 and have won 7 consecutive Olympic gold medals. I don't question their judgment. They made the right call.
That's because you're not as smart as I am.
Yeah, I know it.
Because if you're as smart as I was, you would have said, we should put her in so the Olympics, which is not even watched by 50 people anymore, would excel, and we would see this great Olympic teams play.
We'll have her in on 2028 when they have it in Los Angeles.
I'm not watching it no more. I'm not watching it no more.
You'll get to see her then.
I'm not watching it no more.
Do you know about the Unrivaled League?
Yeah, I don't care about the 3-on-3 league. I don't care about the unrivaled leagues. I don't
Yeah.
care about the foreign leagues.
She's not joining that.
I am not watching her play no more. I am not paying
Yes,
my
you will.
$13 because you know what? When she came out and said it was white privilege, I lost
Yeah.
all interest in her.
Yeah.
So I don't give a shit if she scores 900 points a game. I, Sean Morris, ain't watching her.
Okay. But you're still watching your damn Cowboys.
I
And they
watched
haven't
the
done
Cowboys,
anything in 40 years.
but you know what? When they did, I'm going to tell you something. When they kneeled down
Yeah.
that time, I stopped watching them for the whole year.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until Jerry Jones came out and said, "We will not kneel down," that I said, "Okay, I'll watch him again." But
Yeah.
I didn't watch him. I didn't watch him for a whole year. I didn't
Yeah.
watch anybody play football.
So who's your team now?
I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm whoever's in first place.
I'm a Yankee fan.
So whoever's
not
in
gonna
first, that's my team. This way I
When
never
people
lose.
start saying it, when people have to bow down and
Yeah.
somehow be shamed for the color of their skin,
Yeah.
it makes me sick. And that
You
goes
know-
for every color.
But look at I like that league, and I enjoy watching them play. I wish they would do more dunking because there are women that can dunk.
All of them can dunk. You got that one girl that I don't even think's a girl who got arrested over there in Russia, and she's like 7 foot tall, right? She's not
Yeah.
dunking the ball. But
There's a gal in the South Carolina college basketball. She can dunk. She's 6'3". Okay, her last name is Williams, I think. But anyway, I would like to see more of that in the WNBA, and but you don't see enough of it. But I think that would improve that people tuning in to watch some games.
people don't.
But anyway,
people ain't tuning in to watch it because this whole bullshit that's going on, Timmy. Don't you get it? This whole
I do get it.
This whole Caitlin Clark shined a light on why catty ass girls basketball isn't watched and losing millions of dollars because they weren't that good. The finals sucked. I seen better high school games.
The
than
officiating in the finals sucked.
The finals, yeah, they stuck. The last game stunk.
Yeah.
Okay?
The officiating, though,
Well, so
ruined
did
a
the
lot
girls. I mean,
of these.
some of these girls were 3 for 20 shooting the ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the bottom line is the league stinks.
Yeah. Well,
Period.
look at if certain players are off on that are like Ionescu with the Liberty. Okay, she's either hot on or she's cold.
I'm not talking about
just,
how good the
you know,
players are. Don't get me wrong.
It's just the way it is. But anyway,
I'm not talking. No, it ain't anyway. I'm gonna debate this with you because I want to. It's not about how good the players are because I think the players, some of them, are absolutely phenomenal. It's the league that sucks. The league is horrible. The league doesn't understand it's a business. The league let
they're going to renegotiate the contract.
I don't care.
And now
about
that now that they got more viewers, more money, the players are in a better position.
I don't give a fuck about the players. What don't you understand? I'm telling
you, though. But I care about the players.
I get it.
Yeah,
I get what you care about.
I want to see the women earning good money instead of
I could give a shit.
$76,000 a year.
I'd rather see doctors earn good money. I'd rather see cops earn good money. I'm sick and tired of watching somebody dribble a fucking basketball making $50 million a year, Tim.
That's the men are doing that, not the women.
Getting shot over in Afghanistan making $23 an hour. I don't care. Sports to me, which is something I loved, I could care less. So while you're home watching this shitty league, I'll be out there walking picket lines with firemen and police, hoping they get a better paycheck.
Okay. You do that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm not watching it no more. Caitlin Clark, I'm not a fan no more. And take your whiteness and good luck to you. I hope you make a fortune. Well, what else, Timmy? What's going on? Anything else?
Well, look at the only thing I wanted to tell you, Sean, is here's something that happened that I'm baffled about. Okay, and I didn't want to bring it on up, but I'm going to bring it on up. Okay, so here's what happened, folks. Back in March, Mayor Keeler was doing a little ceremony. Okay, and what does he do? is right after this little ceremony, during a normal work day, it was a work day, they go in City Hall, have a little luncheon and stuff like that. And what does he do, Sean? He pops out petitions for the people who were at this little ceremony to sign petitions for David Soares. Now, our ethics code says you don't do any political campaigns or stuff during the workday while you're at City Hall. So this goes before the ethics board, right? And said, look, it was a normal workday between 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock in the afternoon. These people have a little award ceremony, go back in, have a little drink, little, pats on the backs, congratulations. And this guy ruins that event by coming on out and say, hey, can you sign this for this? Sign it. And then here's what happens. When it goes to the ethics board, and they have this thing for 5 goddamn months. And what do they do? Despite the clear language where it says you don't do campaigns during the workday, they dismiss it. And this is why we're never going to see in Cohoes, okay, a more honest, open, transparent government when you even bring independent thinking mind people in that are supposed to be the guardians and put a stop to this stuff. Now, am I asking, hey, you fire them, you get rid of the mayor, or you run them out of office? No. What I'm saying is, if it's that clear, black and white, and he does it anyway, and Sean, he was the chairman of the ethics board. The mayor was. Back in 2014.
He suspended Kenny Ratliff for doing the same thing he had the DPW do on his own house.
Yeah.
If you recall. And David Soares wrote him a letter saying, oh, you could do that. It's okay. So he's shocked that he carried his petitions?
Yeah. So he's carrying his petition in City Hall during a normal workday, and I just can't say they're foolish that they just turn around and get that thing right, Sean. It's just unbelievable. So
I'm gonna leave you
people,
with this.
I was hoping that we would get an ethics board that would be basically a check on the government here in Cohoes. And I told Biggs about it. I told Higgins about it. And you know what? This brand new board has been, since they've been put together in May, have been doing nothing but dismissing anything that comes before them. It's terrible, and they need to go, all of them. And that's all I got to say with this rant.
Can I say one thing before
we
leave?
Jump in.
I just told you 1,000 times. If you're waiting for government to do the right thing to protect you from government, you got a long wait. If you think Stanley Shezda, who's been the dodo bird for the city in almost every position and every mayor you can imagine, is going to change who he is, you're sadly mistaken.
Now, when they had their first meeting,
I'm sad about. I'm not going to mention their names.
Yeah.
Certainly, I think they could be more stand up and look at these things.
Well, Timmy, I'm trying to get the minutes of the meeting, Sean, so I could see who voted before I judge those people.
Well,
okay.
I'm just going to tell you that most people just get along to go along because they don't know any better. They go on these committees, they get along, they go along.
Look, it's just donated to Keeler's campaign, and he doesn't have this common sense to recuse himself.
Well, why don't you call the new DA and ask him if he has any interest in the mayor?
I may very well do that after the holiday. I'm waiting for him to take office.
Because the bottom line is, they went after Danny McCoy and tried to investigate him for 2 years because they said he had employees doing campaign stuff during work hours.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if he's out there signing petition, he's out there doing stuff on work. He has workers working on his house. Nobody says a word.
He's got City Hall staff stuffing his Christmas cards.
Yeah.
You running them through the city clerk or the treasurer's stamp machine in room 4.
They fired a mayor somewhere because he was doing
Gloversville.
taking
stamps.
Stamp machine. So this
using
guy's
a stamp machine. Yeah, they just took 375 stamps, 69 cents a pop, $258 worth of postage to mail out 375 cards, and you didn't get one.
I might have. My mail, I didn't check the mail. If every single Cahosia got a Christmas card,
yeah,
I'd say, well, he's using tax. Everybody's getting it.
yeah.
When he's using my money to send out Christmas cards, when I don't even have the money to send out Christmas cards,
Yeah.
there's a problem. And
Yeah.
people will go, oh, it's only a Christmas card. No, look past the Christmas card. $20,000 raise for him, his daughter, his brother-in-law. Okay?
Yep. Yeah.
Stamps
And-
you paid for to send out Christmas cards to his aunt, his uncle, his friends, his buddies, his donors.
Think about
DPW
it.
working on his house. When does somebody go, whoa, time out?
Not
Sean
only that,
Morris-
Sean. Not only that, you had someone on the clock stuffing the envelopes,
I know.
putting addresses down, putting return address stickers on every one of them, okay, and then stamping them all, and then bringing. So the manpower alone, plus you're using city hall facilities, okay.
I had people calling up saying Sean Morris used 3 pieces of toilet paper. He should have only used 2.
Yeah.
Whatever they could to kill me, they did. This guy walks
Yeah.
on water. And David Soares, if he's watching the show, I'm happy he lost because he's a bum. Period. Hey, everybody, we ain't going to be here next week, but if you like the show, and I'm sorry about today's show because we just really had a fun time just talking to you guys directly because I couldn't get up half of the program because my computer doesn't like me. But if you like the show, please subscribe, join, like, share. We'd really appreciate it. Picked up about 150 people in the last, since I looked, the last 3 weeks. So that's exciting. We won't be here next week. It's Christmas. And
Have a good Christmas, everybody.
Yeah, me and Timmy and everybody who helps us get the show up and running, and all you people watching the show, we wish you nothing but a very Merry Christmas. We send you our love and our prayers, and we'll see you right after Christmas.
Yeah, and thanks to all the people that chimed in and commented. We get to read the comments, so And
I'll be wrapping presents, and Timmy will be reading the newspaper,
watching the WNBA and unrivaled start in January.
I'll see you, Timmy. Take care.
Okie doke.